So you've asked what is 150 KTB, and I'm going to explain with a ham sandwich. That's right, a ham sandwich. I'm Fred Lill of Lill Packaging. We dedicate ourselves to e-commerce, so this is particularly about material grades for e-commerce packaging. So I did mention a ham sandwich, let's get back to that. So what is 150 KTB? So actually it needs to be broken down into its three elements. Corrugated is much like a ham sandwich, wafer ham sandwich let's say, where you have a slice of bread each side with your flute in the middle, basically your wafer ham. And generally in the industry there are three different thicknesses, let's say, of wafer ham. You have the most common in e-commerce, E-flute, and then for box standard boxes, B-flute, and then hardly used at all, certainly in e-commerce, C-flute, but I'll come back to that. So breaking down, what does 150 KTB mean? Firstly, the 150 is just stating your grammage, GSM, of the actual sandwich papers, the liners they're known as in the corrugated industry. So think of 150, because generally in the industry we use either 125, 150 or 200 gram liners on corrugated. So think of, in terms of your bread, think of 125 gram as being medium slice, think of 150 as being thick, and then think of 200 gram as doorstop thickness bread. I think you can still get that. Some people call it toasty bread, but yeah, 200 gram liner is basically as thick as it comes. So yeah, this case 150 stands for the 150 gram bread either side. So the K stands for basically the external liner paper. K meaning kraft. It's actually the German word for strong. It's virgin fibre, so it's not been recycled before. In most cases, like everything we produce here at the Lill Packaging Factory in Cambridge, all the craft material is FSC accredited, so it's from a farmed source, the Forestry Stewardship Council, FSC. So we know that basically the outer liner is 150K, so 150 craft. And I'd compare that to the crust. So basically, crust is thicker, stronger than your normal soft bread. So in this case, 150 KT, the T stands for test recycled liner. Now, I've met a lot of people in the packaging sector, other packaging geeks like me, and none of us know why it's called test. So don't worry about that. But basically, 150 craft, 150 test, so you've got a stronger liner on the outside, and in fact that's how most, let's say, box standard boxes are made, out of a craft on the outside, test on the inside. So the final letter, B, is the fluting of the ham, the frequency of the flute in the middle. So basically, in simple terms, C flute, B flute, and then E flute, which has tinier, much smaller, and I'll come on to that later, much smaller frequency. So basically 150 craft test B flute in a sandwich. There we go. In fact, you know what date this is. It's got to be prepared. Make sure I'm not going to get coronavirus or anything like that. 5, 6, 7, count to my 20. Oh, sing happy birthday before I can eat this sandwich. But actually, put this to a side for a second. So that's the explanation of 150 KTB. It's it's the material grade that we make the majority of our Lill boxes in. So actually, this is a good example, hopefully you can see it here on the lens, of a material, let's cover this up, this is the big reveal for later. 150 KTB is our standard material for these like E3 Lill boxes. B flute being 3mm thickness, and generally all box standard boxes, or say most box standard boxes are made from this. There are three different flutes in the industry, so we have C flute, B flute and E flute, commonly used in the e-commerce sector. And whoever came up with these letters, you know, CBE, doesn't deserve a CBE. It's thoroughly confusing, and please like and subscribe this video. There are other videos that explain in more detail just the variety of different flutes. It doesn't make sense. It should be like A to Z, of A being thickest or highest, and E being, or the Z being the smallest. But anyway, so coming back to this, C flute has a high frequency. It's 4 millimeters high. It's used less than 1% in the e-commerce sector. It's generally for industrial packaging. So the next one down, B flute, it's only 3 millimeters high, and that represents about 40% of basically corrugated packaging going through the e-commerce supply chain. It's generally how you would imagine normally a bog standard 0201 box like this to be produced. E flute is everything behind me, apart from of course these bags and envelopes. E-flute really is the best thing for optimizing ECT edge crush test value. I guess think of it almost like, well, just condensed material to give it that ultimate impact protection. You would normally see C-flute in things like huge palletized freight, industrial packaging, even things for like white goods, large white goods. B flute, like I say, for a normal box like this, but anything outside of that, E flute is always my recommendation. To give you an idea, everything we produce at Lil Packaging, probably 80% of our manufacture is an E flute. We did ourselves to e-commerce, but we really would suggest that for that extra edge crush test value. So hopefully that's given you a bit of insight as to what 150 KTB means. Please subscribe, like these videos. At the end of the day, we're just here to help you make happy. Bye now.